Okay, so this video is to help you in section 1.4 with the equations that require you to know how to factor the sum or difference of two cubes. So now as you can see, these are not equations, but instead we're just going to practice the factoring of the sum or difference of two cubes so that when you encounter these in solving those equations in section 1.4, you'll know how to correctly factor these. Okay, so I see here I have x cubed plus 27. So I first have to recognize that this indeed is a sum of two perfect cubes. X cubed is a perfect cube, 27 is a perfect cube. The cube root of 27 is 3 because 3 times 3 times 3, or 3 cubed, gives me 27. And so when I factor the sum or difference of two cubes, I know that these are always going to factor to what I think of as little parentheses times big parentheses, or really and truly they're going to factor to a binomial times a trinomial. And then after I put that, I use something called SOAP. And SOAP stands for same, opposite, always positive. Okay? And so that tells me how to correctly put my signs in the parentheses. So SOAP tells me to do same. That means same as my problem goes here. Opposite of this sign goes here. And the last one is always positive. Okay, so now that I have my signs in my parentheses, now the next thing I do is I take the cube roots of my terms. Okay, so that's the next thing I'm going to do is take the cube roots. Well, the cube root of x cubed is x, and the cube root of 27 is 3. Now, I'm going to stop here for a minute and show you that if you did not know that the cube root of 27 was 3, that you could use your calculator to help you find that. And so you would take your calculator and you would click math, and you would go down to option number 4, which is taking the cube root. And then you would type in 27, and it would tell you the cube root there is 3. Okay? Alright, so back to our problem. We took the cube roots, we put them in the little parentheses, or the binomial. Okay, so now, to fill in the trinomial part, the next part, we're going to square, multiply together, and square again, in that order. What do I mean? Okay, so we're going to square the first term we have here in this parentheses, and we're going to put that here. So if I square x, I get x squared. Okay, then I'm going to multiply together, multiply my two terms together. Don't worry about the sign, we've already put our signs in. X times 3 would put 3x here. And then finally it says square again. So we square now the second term in this parentheses. 3 squared gives me 9 here. And so my final answer is what I have here. Now, this is not solving equations again. This is just to review you on how to factor the sum or difference of two cubes. For solving a cubic equation, you will have to go through and watch your section 1.4 video. All right, let's look at one more problem. Okay, so let's say that we were given to factor, this time it's a difference between two perfect cubes, and I know that both of these are perfect cubes. X cubed is of course a perfect cube, and 64 is a perfect cube because 4 times 4 times 4, or 4 cubed, gives me 64. Okay, so to factor this, we're going to do it the same way we did problem A. We're going to do little parentheses times big parentheses, or really that means we're going to have a binomial times a trinomial when we factor this. Okay, so then I'm going to do SOAP. And remember from the previous example, go back and look at it if you need to, that stands for same. So same as my problem goes here. Opposite of this sign goes here. And the last one is always positive. So that was same, opposite, always positive. Okay, now if you remember from the other example, the next step is to take the cube roots of each of these. So the cube root of x cubed is x, that goes here. And the cube root of 64 is 4, that goes here. Okay? So now I'm going to do the next step, which remember was square, multiply together, square again. So I'm going to square this term, and that goes here, so that would be x squared. I'm going to multiply these two together. Don't worry about the sign. We've already put them. X times 4 puts 4x here. And I'm going to square again. 4 squared gives me 16. And so that is my final answer once I have factored x minus 4 times x squared plus 4x plus 16.